Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, I want to give you a little bit of an update on the kitchen cabinet situation. If you recall, a few months ago, back in September, I decided I'm not going to try and refinish these cabinets. You recall from the beginning, I wasn't really a fan of the finish that was on them. They tried to do something to make them look aged, but what they did is it just made it look dirty. And I tried at one point on like this one here to remove some of the finish in the hopes that I could repaint it, but I spent an hour on this thing with a chemical and only got a little bit of this one door done. So at that point I made the decision that I was just going to have the whole thing replaced. It also allowed me to deal with another issue. I'm pretty certain that when this kitchen was designed, it was probably designed for somebody who's a little shorter than I am. So what they did is they put these bulkheads up here going down from the ceiling. So the top of the cabinet is only about a foot from the ceiling. And that was probably, like I said, for somebody who's a little shorter than I am. Well, that's a lot of wasted space, and I'd much rather have an extra foot of storage space all around the kitchen here. So that was another advantage that kind of came with updating just replacing it, ripping everything out and starting over. So I originally went to my local Home Depot. My local Home Depot didn't specialize in that particular issue, but they sent me to another one of the Home Depots in town over near Belmead, and they allegedly have a kitchen cabinet specialist. And so I went over there, and it just turned out that the person that was their specialist quit the day before, so they didn't have anyone, and it didn't really, they couldn't really help me at this point. They were going to hire somebody else, but they didn't know how long that was going to take. So I reluctantly went to Lowe's. As you know, I've had bad experience with Lowe's in the past. They lost my order for my lawnmower and wouldn't do anything to try and correct the problem. Just put me back on the bottom of the list again. Maybe 10 days from then, I would have gotten a lawnmower, and so I just canceled that order. There was another case where I bought a washer and dryer and my barbecue, and they were estimating a 10-day delivery time. I said nuts to that. I just ended up renting a truck for it. So I was very reluctant to go to Lowe's the first time, to look at this cabinet, just because I've had so many bad experiences with them. But I did go, and it seemed like everything was going well, and I brought them in pictures and kind of showed them what I was looking to do, and they asked me for some measurements, and I provided it for them, and then they came out and did their own measurements just to make sure everything was right. Turns out my measurements were perfect, but they can't assume that. So they designed, they picked out all the stuff that they need to do to basically replace everything in here. We made a couple of minor changes because there were some things that they couldn't do anymore. That for instance, one of the drawers down here underneath the oven is a cabinet door that opens up, and then there's a couple of shelves that pull out. Well, I like the shelves, being able to pull the shelves out, but they didn't have anything like that. So instead of having the door that opens and shelves that pull out, we're just going to put drawers in that. And everything seemed to be going well. And actually, I got some voicemails here I'm actually going to play for you. This first one is a voicemail that came in early, about mid-September. This was about a week after I placed the initial order. And this is when they were telling me of when the delivery date was going to be. Now, I knew at the time, because of labor shortages and stuff like that it was going to be about 3 months. So I wasn't really surprised at that. But I want you to listen to this recording and note specifically that in the recording they told me that they would keep up with me every about 3 weeks to let me know how the job was going. So this is that recording.
Hi, Breck. This is the Lowe's installation support team. Just reaching out today to kind of touch base and let you know or give you some information on your cabinets. Right now, the manufacturer that you've purchased your cabinets from is actually running a lead time of 15 to 16 weeks from the date of purchase.
We knew that.
So the anticipated receipt date for yours would probably be around December 10th.
December 10th.
So if you have any questions, you can reach us at We will be following this up for you about every 3 weeks in the meantime,
Every
just
3
to
weeks.
kind of keep track of what's going on, keep you updated on the exact date once we actually get the exact date. So right now, though, December 10th is kind of a guesstimate based on the fact that it's 15 to 16 weeks from the date of purchase, which was August 24th. Again, any questions, give us a call at the Lowe's Installation Support Team. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And we'll touch back in about 3 weeks. Thank you so much.
All right, so everything seems like we're on track here. This is what I expected. I figured it would be, about mid-December that everything came in. They warned me that it was going to be a long lead time, so I wasn't freaked out about that. But they did say that they were going to keep up with me every about 3 weeks so that I knew what was going on. Well, I started becoming concerned about that 2 weeks ago because as of 2 weeks ago, I hadn't heard from them. They never called me every 3 weeks, and it had been 2.5 months, and I hadn't heard a word from them. So I went into the Lowe's store. It turns out the sales representative that I was dealing with wasn't there that day, but I was able to talk to her manager. And he looked up on the computer, and what he found was that the people that were making the cabinets had basically put the order on hold. Now, you remember, I'm replacing all the cabinets here, both on top and also along the bottom here underneath the counters. I got a bunch of drawers and cabinets and stuff like that. They're replacing all of that. So there's dozens and dozens and dozens of pieces. Well, apparently one of the pieces was back ordered, and they didn't know how long it was going to be. So rather than work on all the remaining pieces, they just paused the whole order. And they didn't bother to call Lowe's, and Lowe's didn't bother to follow up with them on that. So I was very upset that day, and basically I just stayed in the store and hovered over the guy and made him call the cabinet maker and figured out what they were going to do with it. And when I left the store, that was 2 weeks ago today, I had a promise from them that they were going to rush the order and that the deadline of December 10th would still hold. So I figured, okay, all right, there's a communication issue, but maybe we've got the problem fixed. Well, since I wasn't able to talk to the salesperson, I wanted to go in and talk to her, and she was on vacation that week. So I went in the next week to let her know what had gone on. By the way, the sales manager himself said he was gonna call me back in a couple days and let me know what was going on. And in fact, I got a voicemail for that too. That is, I believe, this one.
Mr. Lowe, this is we're at Lowe's in the cabinet department. I was checking on your cabinets. I do have good news. They did put a rush on it. It's shipping out the 10th. It will hit the delivery agent on the 16th. And then the delivery agent will call you to schedule delivery. So any questions, just give me a call. Thank you. Bye.
All right. So everything, it sounds like we got the rush order placed. Like I said, this was 3 days after I visited him. And the sales representative I've been dealing with, like I said, was on vacation that week. So I couldn't talk to her directly. So the following Monday, 1 week ago today, I went into Lowe's again to talk to her. And it turns out that while she was there, her manager wasn't there. And I wanted to make sure that I could talk to both of them at the same time. But I started off to explaining to her what was going on. And, at first, it'd been 3 months since she'd seen me, so I was wondering if she remembered me, and she did remember me, and I told her I wanted to talk about what happened last week. Well, her manager hadn't even talked to her about what had happened the week before, which is kind of crazy. She's my representative. She's the one that should be the central focus of the whole thing, and anything happens needs to go through her. And I was a little bit upset that her manager didn't even tell her what had gone on, or even leave any notes in the computer as to what was going on. But I went in that Monday, explained the situation, told her that I was a little concerned about what was going on. I wanted to make sure there weren't going to be any more screw-ups. Well, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't able to talk to both of them because the manager was out that day, but I found out that both of them would be in the next day, on Tuesday. So I went in again and sat down with both of them and once again reiterated the fact that I was very upset with how things had worked so far and how that there was no communication and how stupid it was that the cabinet maker had put the whole order on hold just because they didn't have one part and all that. And they basically promised me that, yeah, everything is still on track. And at that point, since we were pushing the date out, I was originally supposed to receive the cabinets on the 10th, and then it'd be a few days later they'd be able to come in and install them. And I figured, okay, well, during that time, the cabinets would be delivered here. I'd have to put them somewhere. I just figured I'd leave them out in the garage. That'd be fine for a couple days. I can park my car outside. That isn't the end of the world. But now that everything was delayed, we're getting really, really close to Christmas, because if it isn't going to get here until the 16th, in all likelihood, the cabinet installation won't happen in the week before Christmas. It'll be sometime in the new year, and I didn't want to give up my garage for 3-4 weeks, to store all the cabinets in there. So I had to make arrangements for them to figure out what they were going to do with the cabinets. And they said, no problem, they'll ship them to the store, they'll put them up on a rack somewhere, and they'll keep them there until we're ready to deliver, or until they're ready to install them. So that was the original plan, was that now instead of coming from the cabinet maker and going to my house, they were going to come from the cabinet maker and go to the store and be shipped there. Well, a couple days later, I got this voicemail.
Hello, this is Lowe's calling about your scheduled delivery. Your delivery is scheduled for Thursday, December 9th, 2021, with an arrival window between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. Central Time. If you have any questions or would like to reschedule your appointment, please call. Once again, that phone number is Thank you for using Lowe's delivery services. Goodbye.
So, okay, basically what's going on here now, all of a sudden, Thursday morning when I'm at work, I got a voicemail from an automated recording from Lowe's saying that my cabinets were coming later that day, and I had to be there to pick it up. It didn't actually say that in the voicemail, but I got a couple of text messages after that from them telling me that that I would have to be there. Somebody over 18 would have to be there to receive them, and it's like, well, I'm at work, I can't do that. And the time to tell me that you're going to deliver it today during a weekday, and when most people are working, it's not maybe the best idea to call them the day of, and that's the time you tell them they're going to do it. Plus the fact it's supposed to be going to the Lowe's store. It's not supposed to even be coming to my house. So I immediately called the sales representative again and told her what was going on. And she says, yeah, that's just a glitch in the computer. We made the arrangements to change it to be delivered to the store, but it hadn't trickled through the system yet, so I could just ignore that. Well, like I said, I continued to get text messages for the rest of the day telling me, that it's an hour away and someone over 18 needs to be there. Well, as it turns out, nothing happened and it didn't deliver and whatever. Then I was getting ready to do the live stream yesterday. Yesterday was the 12th. And what ended up happening is about an hour before the live stream was to start, I got a telephone call from Lowe's telling me that the delivery date for the cabinets had been pushed out to March 7th. So I was very upset at that point. I told the person I was talking to, this was someone from corporate, I told them I thought they were incompetent, that this is crazy, that this is insane. I've waited 3 months for these already, and there's been all sorts of screw-ups on your end, and now you're telling me I'm going to have to wait another 3 months, despite the fact that they were supposed to ship 2 days ago. You're suddenly finding out now they not only didn't ship 2 days ago, but now that they're going to ship in 3 months. That was insane, and I basically got so angry with her, hung up on her. And for those of you who watched the live stream, we talked quite a bit about that. Well, I immediately called my sales representative and let her know what was happening. I talked to her at home of all things, and she said, well, I'm going in tomorrow and I will look it up immediately. Well, this morning I got a voicemail from the manager again, and this is that voicemail.
Hi, Mr. Rowe. This is over at Lowe's. You got a message about the March. I just called. It's in transit to the transportation company, just like we had said. So, and I had them bringing it to the store. So they haven't received it there yet, but she checked and it is in transit. So we're still about the same schedule that we talked about. So them corporate people are just looking at the portal and not talking to nobody. So don't worry about it. Got it taken care of, okay? And I'll let you know as soon as we receive it here. Thank you. Bye.
So now not only is the cabinet maker not talking to Lowe's, and Lowe's isn't talking to the cabinet maker, and Lowe's isn't talking to their corporate office, and the corporate office isn't talking to Lowe's, and the manager isn't talking to his own people. Now their computer is telling him the wrong stuff. And I went there this morning, and I was really upset again. And I talked to the manager guy. The sales representative wasn't there, but I talked to the manager guy, and basically he showed me the computer screen that clearly says that, yeah, March 7th, that's a delivery date. But he said he called the cabinet maker himself, and they confirmed that it shipped out. And apparently what ends up happening is wherever the cabinets are made, they're shipped to a shipping office. It's in Austin, I guess, and then once it gets to Austin, then it gets shipped to the store. I don't understand why they just don't go directly to the store, but whatever, that's the way it's working. And but I was still very upset that this kind of stuff keeps happening over and over again. When I talked to him a week ago, when I talked to both of them together, I told him, I'm on the verge of canceling this order, and if I cancel the order this time, based on the two bad experiences I've had in the past, that's it. I'm done with Lowe's. And so I was hoping that was going to be the end of the situation, and there weren't going to be any more of these screw-ups. Well, they still are screwing up, and I was kind of disappointed because the manager guy I was talking to today, he kept trying to deflect attention away. It's like, well, we didn't do this. This is somebody else's fault. Yeah, I know, but you guys are the ones that are supposed to be managing this. I originally came to Lowe's to have you guys manage this, not to have to manage it myself. I shouldn't have had to come in here the first time, because you should have realized there was a problem 2 months ago when they put the order on hold, and then we had to rush the order, and all the other mistakes that have been made up and down the chain. It just really doesn't seem like they're paying that much attention. And I reiterated again to this manager guy that I'm getting tired of the mistakes, and it's got to stop. You got to stay on top of this. You're the ones that are managing this job. You're the people that need to be going to corporate and making sure they're doing their job, and the cabinet maker is doing their job, and the shippers are doing their job, and all of that. And it isn't happening, and I really need you to take this serious. And so I said, it does sound like we are on track, but it just makes me wonder what's going to happen when we get to the installation process. Is that going to be as much of a nightmare as this whole manufacturing process is? I acknowledge the fact that the cabinet manufacturer and the installers are probably going to be different people, and they confirmed that. And they claim that their installers are first-rate people, but I kind of figured their cabinet makers would be first-rate people too. I was also concerned that because they had to rush this job, that there's always a possibility that I'm going to get shoddy merchandise. And so I don't know, we're still going to have to watch this, but I just wanted to kind of give you an update about what's going on, and just so you know, because people were asking in the live stream yesterday what's going on with that, and I know a lot of you are kind of paying attention to this and watching what's going on and eager to see how this all comes out. But that's sort of the latest on it right now. Please don't call Lowe's and do anything. I want to deal with this on my own. But, you know, it just reiterates to me that that, you know, some of these companies just, they don't do, you know, really good work. And I know it probably is just something local to this store. I mean, I was talking to Jordan a while back about his experience, you know, being a homeowner now, and he says he's gone to Home Depot a bunch of times and been let down by them, and he prefers Lowe's. Lowe's always takes care of him. So that just convinces me that the issue is, you know, the individual store versus the whole corporation. But, you know, because I've never had any problems with Home Depot. But anyway, that's where we are on this. Sorry I had to vent today, but like I said, I wanted to get this, if anything else, documented all in one place so that I could, you know, actually refer back to it if we have to get lawyers or something involved in all this. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.